And we're back.
Yeah, bye-bye.
What's going on? I'm Jared.
I'm Josh.
And we had to sit down and watch some more games.
More games, yeah, buddy.
But it's a crazy day. I don't know if you know yet or not, Malcolm Young passed away.
Yeah, man.
And, you know, it's still sad when anybody passes away, especially after last year when it felt like everybody in music died. But, you know, my thoughts of the band AC/DC really got soured with how just bad Brian Johnson got done towards the end of that run. I just didn't realize just how wrong that dude got done until I think it came up on Jericho's podcast. And it's like, man, I'm not saying that somebody deserved to die over it. It's for some reason that's what my mind went directly to. I was like, man,
Yeah.
it's sad regardless.
Mal was actually kind of done before all that went down because Malcolm's been like, I think Alzheimer's got him about 2 years ago. And the Brian Johnson thing was ugly, mainly because, man, all you ever hear about Brian Johnson is the coolest guy in the world. You just hear so many good stories about what a nice guy he was, man. But yeah, that was the thing, was when you're going to tour AC/DC and Malcolm's not there, I'm out. And then when you get rid of Brian, too, it's like, well, I don't know what you're thinking, but
it's
okay.
not AC/DC anymore.
Yeah, the first rock and roll show I went to was it was at the Omni. I think I was 16, and it was AC/DC, and I pretty much spent the whole night watching Malcolm Young because he's been my favorite member of that band forever because he's like a metronome, man. Like I had this like fantasy, this like dream ensemble fantasy where you have like him playing guitar and you have for Pete's sake, man, Clyde Stubblefield from James Brown's band drumming, and then you have Bootsy Collins playing the bass over the top of it. And I was trying to do people from all different bands, but I probably take Bernie from Funkadelic too. And just
Rhythm sections just kind of, it's almost like they have to go together.
It's very hard not to. Yeah, man. So I'm going to take Bernie. I'm going to take Bernie and Bootsy.
The foundation sound.
Yeah, man. I think that would just sound so cool, man. I think they could. It was messed up. I'm with you. I saw it earlier today, and it bummed me out because I feel bad for him. But at the same time, it's one of those Bobby Heenan things where it's such a turd of a disease that it's up for his people to make their own dadgum decision on how they feel. But if it gives them any relief to have him at peace, good for them. Good for them.
That's what you have to kind of remind yourself of in times like that. Like, well,
I agree.
In a better place. You just don't. I'm sick of hearing thoughts and prayers. Just don't say that ever again.
Yeah.
But other than that, as swirling in the heavens above us.
It's a good old Mal.
And another guy that's not dead, but thank F Christ gone, James Ellsworth was released.
Yes, yes he was.
Earlier this week. And the only problem I have with it is not letting the guy go. It's just like, why now? Why not let this Carmella story get wrapped up, then ship his ass off? I mean, it felt like they were kind of working towards that. A lot of people think that could possibly be something that gets cashed in on tomorrow night.
I've heard the same thing.
Survivor Series.
I desperately hope not, but I've heard the same thing, and we'll see.
So,
sorry. That's where that needs to go. Sorry.
Yeah, it's kind of shaky. This tripod is on its last legs.
last two legs.
But at least James is gone. It's one of those kind of. It's never a good thing to hear somebody got let go, but at the same time, it's like, man, nobody wanted that guy around in the first place, so why not?
Yeah, man, Ellsworth's a funky thing. It's so strange to me that like comedy wrestling is this like dirty, ugly, awful thing. And then that's who you try to go for. Because, like, I know we were both big, like, Santino fans. Santino was entertaining as crap. That was one of the few, like, straight comedy acts WWE's ever had that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Ellsworth didn't do it for me. My favorite thing about James Ellsworth, though, is that I know that we've discussed it, and I understand that we maybe look at it from a different place, but all you need to know is that within 6 months, AJ Styles put that kid over 3 times and then got rung a decent match out of Shane McMahon. There's nothing he can't do.
Yeah.
There's nothing AJ Styles can't do. And then it was also nice to have Becky get a win over him, just because anytime Becky wins, I'm happy. She deserves it.
Yeah. I think James Ellsworth just took a lot of the blame from me for just wasting time with AJ and Dean Ambrose
Oh,
earlier.
yeah.
She's like, why are you wasting time doing this?
Yeah, I absolutely despise them putting world champion AJ Styles in the ring with that guy, but it's just basically making the most FU flavored glass of lemonade ever. Like, if you're going to put me in this match and think, it's like putting polka dots on dusty roads.
Yeah.
You put world champion AJ Styles in the ring with this guy and you think he's going to wind up you think he's going to suffer because of it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Didn't work out for you.
Absolutely not. Excuse me. I'll make my good look good.
But all that went down this week, and did you want to do a review of Ragnarok, or did you care to even?
Yeah, I went and saw the old Ragnarok.
Ragnarok.
Yeah, like I said I would. The day that Justice League came out, I went and saw Ragnarok instead, and it was me and 4 other people. It was great. I dug it. It's very strange. It was very much like what the J-Rad man said it was, man, where, again, it's not the abundance of the comedy, it's the style. And it is very zippy, and it was cool. That part didn't bother me. I very much liked Hela. I always say her name wrong, though. I'll tell you why in a minute. I thought her and Scourge together were real cool because I was glad they got the M16s in it because that's such a prominent thing in the book. I know that's like the devil, but it's cool. That was a neat thing. I liked the frog reference during the play. I was very happy with that because the Thor frog storyline never should have worked, and it's fantastic. It's like, it proves that Walt Simonson is the AJ Styles of comic book writing. It's like, nothing I can't do. I was telling Jared, my hang up with it was there's too many other people to get over, and it's not the bad guy because Thor and Hela are kept way apart for the whole movie. They do a nice job of getting her built up, and Thor's over here doing his thing. But once again, can we please get off Thor's the fall guy for the Hulk? We get it. Hulk's real strong. Hulk's real cool. Hulk's real badass. I get it. I'd like it better if he'd carry his own freaking movie. That'd be great. But that was what I thought. That was what I thought was the huge mistake. Is like, if you want to make Planet Hulk, make it. Yeah. But you have to literally jam Planet Hulk into Thor's movies because he's a worthwhile character. So once again, we're right back to Avengers 1 and knocking him over. And it bugged me because it went on way too long. The fight scene was okay. I did think, however, you got to back me up on this. When it comes down to Megaton, what are you god of? And then he jacks him in the neck. Yeah. Cut to black. Because the whole Hulk really beat him up. Didn't you see that? That was so overdone. And it's like, guys, everyone gets it. Hulk's got the biggest dong. We all get it. And it just seemed that was way too overdone, especially when you go back later. What is that you're god of again? Because it's just, I thought that knockout punch would have been so much more meaningful. Hulk gets up and snorts his nose. He's fine. He's the Hulk, for God's sake. But cutting him off, it just would have been smarter, man. I don't understand the constantly putting Thor down, especially when, let's be blunt, you have Thor, you have the Hulk. Which one of them's going to die and which one of them's not? Case closed. But the problem is you double down on that with Valkyrie. Because ultimately what you wind up doing is Thor spends way too much of the time either putting the Hulk over or glaring impressed at... Okay, here you need to look intimidated by the Hulk and you need to look weak compared to the Hulk, and now you need to be impressed with Valkyrie. Now you need to be intimidated by Hulk, now be impressed with Valkyrie. And it's just way too much for both of them. Yeah. And then also Thor and Valkyrie, I ship that. Stop. They don't all need girlfriends. Stop. And Valkyrie darn sure doesn't need to be somebody's girlfriend. No. Because it's cool. I guess my thing, when I was talking earlier, man, and it's so messed up because it sounds like the complete contradiction of what I say about Luke Cage. Valkyrie... The two best scenes I thought she had was the very first one. That was really good. And then the banter between her and Mark Ruffalo. I really liked that. Let me just say it. I'll just go ahead and say it. If you have a drunk ex-soldier suffering from PTSD, we talked about Ben Grimm, and they really did Astro City themselves a Ben Grimm, which is wonderful. Yep. You've also managed to Astro City yourself a Kara Starbuck Thrace. And if you're going to do Starbuck, do Starbucks. She can be a full-on asshole. Doesn't have to be cute, doesn't have to smile, doesn't have to have her hair done. It's cooler if you make that character more real. The girl playing her's pretty enough as it is. It's a movie. Yeah. They're all pretty. So that was the only thing I didn't care for, man. It's just a little too much cutesy stuff and too much grinning and too much, man, ain't I tough? We get it, you know? And I think it was just doing both of them, particularly when you serve Valkyrie very well by doing that for her in the movie because she's new. You already got Hulk.
Yeah.
Should have spent less time with that. I thought the buddy bonding stuff and at the same time, all that buddy bonding stuff. If half those scenes between Hulk and Thor fussing with each other and you're the stupid Avenger and la-di-da, if that was Hulk and Valkyrie instead, then you've really got something because you're giving that character more time on screen. It's not just about her becoming Thor's girlfriend, which hopefully, I hope that you're right, the trapdoor is going to be, it's not about her becoming Thor's girlfriend, it's about her becoming Thor. That's a great idea, and I hope they do it.
Yeah.
But that was the only thing that bummed me out is like, man, you can make her a little dirtier and a little hard, not, like messed up. When I say dirty, it makes me sound like I want her to look like Thunder, like Fury Road. And that's not what I mean, but you can make that character a little more complicated, particularly if you give her and Hulk some scenes alone. I don't want either one of them out of the movie. I that's not the thing. I thought that there was.
A Planet Hulk movie is one of those kind of things. Like, be careful what you wish for, because I don't think that would be as rewarding as people think it would be. It's like, man, this doesn't work as a movie.
I totally disagree, and I'll tell you why. Now, you would have to switch the script a lot, and what I mean is, what is Planet Hulk? Planet Hulk is basically a kid that's like, man, I really want to write Conan stories, but wouldn't it be cool to do it with the Incredible Hulk? Boom, there you go. But you would absolutely have to get off the jokey, laughy, fun stuff. I mean, it would be much heavier, much more serious, and much more emotional. So that part would make it difficult.
Disney's not gonna go for that.
Yeah, that's
so. It'll get peppered in a Thor movie, and that's about as close as we're gonna get.
Well, I'm okay with that as long as you remember that it's called Thor Ragnarok. See, this is like Thor Ragnarok with the Hulk stuff is like Tony killing Steve at the end of Civil War. Why'd you call it Captain America?
Yeah.
Because Cap was going to win. That's why it's not called Avengers 3. Well, it was Avengers 3. No, it started as Avengers 3. But if you call it Avengers 3 and Captain America lives, people would have crapped themselves. But nah, man, it's all good. The Planet Hulk is the Hulk story. Basically, not doing that one. You ain't doing a Hulk solo movie, and I get it. But stop trying to shoehorn him into somebody else's property and then make him the big, shiny, tough guy hero. Thor's been the punchline enough. You said it yourself, man.
Yeah.
That's what irked me about that. But overall, I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. Same thing you were saying. It's very, very good. The gushy, there'll never be one better than this. It's like, sure.
Come on.
Yeah, sure. See you in February for Black Panthers reviews.
Yeah.
For real, man.
It's the end all be all.
2017. There's not another one coming out this year, is there?
Uh-oh.
Oh, crap.
Oh, Jesus. They don't have to all be the greatest thing ever.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
It's good, man. It's they don't have to. It was better than the last one. I mean, it's better than the last one. I'm with you. They don't have to do that. It's okay.
It's cool to have stuff like that to look forward to and everything. I haven't seen Justice League and don't plan on it.
Yeah.
So I'll probably do the same thing. Like before I go even watch that once, I'll just go watch Thor again.
Yeah.
Something I know I'm gonna dig and it's gonna be worthwhile to check it out.
I would dig Thor again. I tell you something I did like about it. We talked about the immigrant song stuff earlier, which was great. But beyond that, man, the score is awesome. I really like that because it's all like 80s synth poppy stuff, and then it gets to the end and it says Mark Mothersbaugh, and it's like, well, that makes sense. Yeah, that totally worked. But I will tell you, the one thing when you watch it again, Ares, Beta Ray Bill, I can't remember the other two guys.
Yeah.
It's 100% them.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
It is.
Cool.
It is. There's this one thing, like this one sideways shot where you can see the horse skull, and it's like, yeah, okay. But it's just. There's other things going on. There's like a plane flying right in front of it.
So much going on.
I
guess that's what it was.
Because when I'm watching it, I'm like, well, yeah, but this is not what you're focused on in this scene. So it totally made sense, man.
And when it comes to the Thor and Hulk fight scene, it goes on for the whole. It feels like a third of the movie almost. It's like we couldn't have got glimpses of any other fights. Like you could have shown Ares or somebody like that in another fight or after a match or something.
He's walking down the hall, man.
Yeah.
Like whenever Thor's going out to do his little fight, instead of dragging that carcass back, you could have had somebody cool come back there.
And it would seem to me if a champion, one of Jeff Goldblum's champions, has made it to the ranks of getting their face on the side of his building, would mean that they're probably dead. But apparently not. So Just a little glimpse of somebody else. Or all these people in this arena just showed up for the main event and nothing else. Come on.
You got to have some preliminary stuff.
Yeah, that's just crazy.
They could have showed us Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne.
Yeah,
they had to be out there.
Speaking of terrible ideas for putting together a wrestling card, to have Takeover, War Games tonight.
The match beyond.
That you had on the card Taylor Bate and Pete Dunne, and it not be on the show. I was like, that's just dumb to me. You're going to waste our time with a pre-show and not show that. This makes absolutely no sense. And a pre-show that all it did really, to me, from what I could say, I wasn't paying much attention to it, was talking about tomorrow night. It's like, who cares?
It's not what we're here for tonight.
Yeah,
Man. It's we were talking earlier about manufactured heat and umbrage, and it's just Booker T yelling things and getting in touch with his inner Miz, and it's like, this is not working for me, man.
Yeah.
I don't. All the Jason Jordan stuff is fake, and I think most of the stuff is, but it helps when you get people that are convincing. And that's stupid, but especially like you said, when you have that match and then stop and then okay, let's do this for half an hour. Like, why? I totally agree.
But you had the Takeover tonight. It's just consistently the better show the weekend that they do, and
I've never seen one that wasn't.
Yeah, man. Some people, will try to pick them apart. I just disagree with everybody that says that they're. If I was going to Houston this weekend, that's the show I'd want to see.
Oh, me too.
That's the one. That's the ticket I'd want to have in my pocket.
Yeah, man. I'm the same way. I've never seen an NXT show in conjunction with any of the Big Four that didn't outdo the Big Four show. And there's been a couple of good Big Four shows. It's just that if, like you said, if I had to pick, or better, like you said, if I was going,
yeah. So they kicked off the show with Lars Anderson and Cassius Ohno. Dang good match. I thought Cassius looked cool in his royal blue Duke uniform. And the Lars Anderson dude, I mean, I don't know very much about him, but I had the same opinion as some of the people in the crowd. Like the second they saw him, like, is that Snitsky's brother?
Yeah, he does. It was an excellent point, man.
Yeah, man. At least his cousin.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a cool match, man. And I'm super biased towards Cassius. I always have to stop and think about what his name is now because I'm an idiot. And it's stupid because Cassius Ohno is an awesome name. It's like, that's so cool. Why do I gotta remember? But it was
all
cool.
The people that copyrighted a name and were able to keep it, I was surprised that Chris Hero was one of the ones that didn't work out.
I'm pretty sure he copyrighted it. I just don't think they wanted it.
Okay.
I think it might have been because, like Austin Aries, the only reason he got his is because that's what his tattoo is. Is it's I don't know what language it is, but it literally says Aries. But yeah, I think and that's good for him because I think he's before NXT he was still going back and forth and doing all kinds of stuff. Excuse me, but yeah, that match was cool as crap. I enjoyed it. I would have liked to seen Pete and Tyler, but I was happy with that.
Yeah, and then we had. Is it Aleister Black?
Yeah.
Aleister Black and the Velveteen Dream.
Man.
That was a heck of a match.
I totally agree.
I forgot was even on the show until it happened. I was like, well, this is awesome.
I really like the rest of the planet. I love Aleister Black. I will tell you my thing that I like the most about Aleister Black is that this is our second match talking about him, and the other one was Satami, and now this is Velveteen Dream. And I can't think of... It's just weird that those are the two matches I'm talking about. Those opponents, completely different, and they were awesome. Both those matches were just off the chain awesome, man. Yeah. Loved it. That was real cool. I liked it. And we talked about Velveteen's Rick Rude Ultimate Warrior trunks. Yeah. That was cool. Everything was cool.
Somebody did way too good of a job of Aleister Black's face on those trunks, man. That was like almost photocopied.
It was creepy. Yeah,
like that's too good.
Good Lord. Yeah, for real. I mean,
stop.
Yeah, stop. No. 3D print your face. Turn it into paint.
And one of the things I noticed in watching this match that I thought would have been kind of weird to watch it in the arena was like the two rings thing. I was like, man, that would probably be like a distraction to try to watch this match, and there's like a whole other empty ring over here. I wonder how it went with people, if they were able to see well or stuff like that. With before the cage was down and all that stuff, it still was kind of like just seemed like it would be odd to have that sitting there doing nothing.
I've been to one show with 2 rings, and it was in like a tiny little armory, so there's not a thing. But yeah, I thought the same thing. Like, I think it's good they alternate them, which totally makes sense for wear and tear. But also, man, I mean, if you've got the seats, if you leave one empty all night and you're sitting in front of it, that sucks. So at least they bounce them back and forth. But I'm with you. When they move to that other one, do you have to? Is it a lot of this?
Huh?
Yeah, man, for real. Huh?
Do what?
Do huh?
So, then, man, I would say could be match of the night. You know, that War Games match at the end was hard to beat, but kind of knew going in. The match I was there to see was for the NXT women's title. You had Ember Moon, Nikki Cross, Kairi Sane, and Peyton Royce, and I just thought it was awesome. I thought it worked out. I picked Nikki Cross to win. That's probably what I would have done, but at the same time, even when they were coming down to the ring, it's like, if they don't do Ember Moon tonight, then when are they going to do it? You know, why not do it now? So at least that part of it made a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I had Nikki the entire time, even after Ember won it, until they have Asuka come in and present her with the belt. Then it makes perfect sense because it's such a nice finish to the whole rivalry, and it's like, well, dude, that was awesome. But that's just the end of the match. I'm completely with you as far as the match itself. Like the War Games match and this one, there's a similarity between them that I will bring up in the War Games match, but I will throw it back to them and give credit where it's due. I just don't want to get too deep into it.
Cool.
But I am very much with you that glorious. Just so good.
Even when Asuka was there to present the title at the end of the match, I still, those part of me kind of like, oh, belt shot her. Come on.
Drag her.
Heel turn. So that was cool.
It was cool, man.
You know,
it was
worth checking out.
Cool for all the good things that you want in a 4-way, man. Everybody had moments. Everybody got nice work. Peyton Royce did what you expect Peyton Royce to do because she's got experience. Ember's the same. I like when experienced people get to show what they can do.
Yeah.
I love stuff like it was awesome. That match was awesome. Just in the like you're you know. I know that it's what you're thinking, and it's what we said during the show. The man did say this during the show. I mean, it's just the next link in the NXT women's chain. I mean, if you just had those matches, I mean, how much you got some hitters, man. That junk is cool. But that goes back to the era when people were cruddy on NXT stuff, man, and kind of crapping on. I'm glad Asuka's a big deal now, but a lot of people kind of got tired of her and hated on it. It was like, I guess if it doesn't do it for you, it doesn't do it for you. But this one, I think, if you like Asuka or not, I think it was exciting, man. That match was awesome.
It was really good.
I agree.
Then there was Andrade Cien Almas versus Drew McIntyre.
Drew McIntyre, who we discussed during the show, apparently now is the bar.
All right.
I thought that was cool.
And it had its full on.
Yeah, look cool.
Piper tribute and everything.
Yeah.
And who knows what they have planned for this dude? Was this his call up?
Yeah, because it surprised us too. For Almas to win, it surprised us too. But then it's kind of like, well, that would make sense for him to George and Wheezy.
Yeah.
Go the way of George and Wheezy. Is how I should have said that. So maybe that's it. And Almas is super popular and cool, and so it's not a nice moment. And I don't mean to be a jerk by saying moment, but it's a cool thing for his fan base. So that's cool, and he is neat. I like the guy too. So it's like, that was sharp.
Talking about call-ups, I mean, he's the one that's probably will be next right after Drew.
That's right.
So
That's what
why
you were
not?
going to say. He could be released after Drew. He's going to be the next Ellsworth.
Yeah.
Hey, good job. Give me that belt back. Get out of here. There's the door.
Don't touch that.
It's not yours anymore, sir. Got it upside down. Can't help you.
Sorry. You failed that test.
You failed.
So it's one of those deals where it's still to me a long time between now and surprises at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, you're right, man.
But it's kind of like, well, is this what they're sowing the seeds for? I mean, what's the plan? And yeah, they'll probably do maybe that's the deal. They'll do a return match at the next takeover, that's still a ways away. You know, there's got to be something in the plans between now and then.
Yeah, man.
That just kind of makes you wonder, what'll on with that, brother?
I don't know about that, brother.
Yeah, brother. But still a heck of a match.
Dude. Thanks, man.
But yeah, there was still a pretty dang awesome match that I just didn't expect to, to like it as much as I did. And it's a nice thing to be able to say.
I totally agree, man. Like when you get one you don't expect anything from, and then you really dig it. And it was cool. It was very, very cool, but still way cooler than I thought. I don't know what I was expecting. Like, oh, cool, title match. All right, let's get it on. And then it was like, good Lord, especially, and also like piggybacking off the 4-way. Like, God, who's following this? You know, you feel bad for it. And then it turned out like, you guys did okay. All right, man.
Yeah. And finally, they have the Mattel shark cage set. Still getting some use out of those shark cages by Christ.
For real. And
I guess to finally show people that this is the toy we're selling. We're not selling the War Games set. Make it yourself if you
cages.
want it.
Cages. Deal with it.
So, what everybody's been, it's World War Hulk. You know, you sure you want this? We finally got what we've been asking for. Had a War Games match, and I know it's early on, but it's probably one of the better ones I've ever seen. You know,
it's my favorite one since the first one.
Honestly,
not even close, man. The first one I still love the most. Well, I'd watch it again compared to that because that sucker was
damn
great. That was so much fun, man.
The Undisputed Era, Authors of Pain, and Sanity. Just tore it up, and something, and a little touch to the match that you just never. You noticed, but didn't realize that it was as big a deal until you see somebody finally put just a strip. It's all you have to do. A little diamond plate between the rings.
Yes.
Makes a world of difference.
Yeah, it was awesome, man.
And you can do moves out there without worrying about somebody blowing up a knee or cracking their skull open. They still did that anyway, but that's another story altogether.
It didn't have anything to do with the bridge and the rings together.
But heck of a match, brother.
It was. I thought it was just awesome. I liked pretty much everything about it. We were discussing the new format. We liked that. We just thought it was cool. It was just,
to me, people were belly aching about changes to the rules. Like, I couldn't tell you the rules in the first place. And second of all, everything that they pointed out in the good Lord rule book that was on the screen, is like, everything seemed to make sense.
It was
that you can't escape. If you escape, you forfeit.
Yeah, I thought it was the same thing as before. I really didn't think it was that different. I guess people just wanted like one person at a time, but
this wouldn't work.
It would have taken too long, and also the stories were so much better for the way they did it, because with having, when you know that's what they're doing and you see the story that they're going for, it all made perfect, wonderful sense. Where if you do one and one and one and one and one, it makes it too long. And you would never get the Sanity entrance.
I didn't think the authors of Pain were going to fit in their cage. It's definitely not Killian Dane and Alexander Wolf. I thought, man, these guys aren't going to fit in those cages anyway.
Seriously.
So don't shut them too tight.
Stupid Mattel.
Then I just to have the three guys start the match and the other two members enter after that, I thought, man, that just makes more sense.
I thought so too. Way better, especially with, like we said, with what they did with it. Particularly the Sanity entrance, because if you break that up, it's nowhere near as special. It's like, oh man, this was excellent, man. And the roof thing, I mean, that was our thing, was like, who's coming off the top of that sucker, because that's the thing, and it's way cooler that way, particularly when it's not a get out situation.
I mean, even going back and watching some of the original ones, when they put the top across of it, and you can't even get somebody up to do the Doomsday device. Didn't that show you then that was a terrible idea?
You have to back suplex JJ to do the Doomsday device, and it breaks his shoulder, and he's still jacked up from that. So good to leave the 10 off, the top off at 10, buddy.
Yeah, man. Just they didn't learn back then, but maybe they've learned now.
Seriously,
you can, do some crazy mess.
I ain't taking the top of the cage off because why? Because we can have it.
It ain't the way God intended.
That's right. God wanted cage matches to be open air. Mm-hmm. You just ask, he'll tell you.
Mm-hmm. By
My
crackhead.
God ain't got no time for your stupid roof cage matches. He's not a St. O'Mac fan.
So, that was just all kind of cool and stuff, and just getting the weapons in there with sanity. And just people that stupid ass "we want tables" chant. Just like, shut up, you're gonna get them.
I'm not wild about the tables chant either.
You finally did. Somebody almost cut their head off.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, the tables thing bugs me because it's just, I don't know, it's just kind of bratty. I mean, it's so, you haven't done enough.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, man.
Yeah.
But I'm totally with you on just the card. I mean, it's just that company. NXT is so awesome. They just don't ever miss, man. Oh, but the thing I was going to say about the four-way and then the War Games match, man. One of the things that we talk about all the time with NXT is you can just tell nobody is in these kids' ears. None. It is like old school booking. This is the finish. You guys do your thing. So you get so much creativity and so much versatility and not just moves but story. Absolutely love it. It's awesome. But the other thing that just super impressed me about, I don't know, I guess it kind of goes with like we were talking about earlier, man. It's just the women's division in NXT. I appreciate that everyone that's been brought up, nobody cares about once they hit the main roster. But that division is just slamming good. Yeah. It is just awesome. They're apparently never going to miss.
Heck yeah.
And now, fortunately, the tag division's looking great, obviously, from what we saw.
Yeah.
And then going back to what we were talking about with Cien Almos, man, is that hopefully this is just an opportunity for Cien to get the belt, either before his call up or before Adam Cole gets it. Because once Adam Cole gets it, it's staying put for a long time. That kid is. I'm happy for that guy, man, because I think I saw him wrestle twice, and I'm like, oh, he's gotta go.
Yeah.
And so, we discuss that all the time, man. Some people's style would really work WWE, some wouldn't, and it really only matters if you want to give it a shot or not. Because I don't think Samoa Joe's style works WWE at all, but he wanted to do it, and then you watch his matches, it's like, this is great.
Yeah.
This is great. So I never would have thought that it would be good, but it is. They left him alone, and much to their credit, because TNA, for some reason, got him as he was and then decided they wanted to change him. And that's the last time anybody's touched Samoa Joe. Thank God. They just left it last. That's Hulk, man. Hulk decided, no, he needs to have paint and like a tribal outfit. Yeah, he sure does. You're right, Hulk. Good job.
Way to go.
But it's cool, because it kept Vince from doing it.
Yeah. Already proved it. Don't go down that road.
Don't change Samoa Joe.
Yeah. So, does this change anything that we think might happen tomorrow night? For Survivor Series?
Not really. Maybe Drew McIntyre could show up, and I have this stupid fantasy. I've told the man several times. There's only two things that I would like to see happen at, I was going to say War Games. Yeah. Survivor Series War Games.
He's gonna show up in the Miz and Baron Corbin match because it's the only match that hasn't been changed since it was originally announced.
It is a doggone shame that that's the one you decided to keep. Now, I think that the women's change is totally okay, because I think that Alexa versus Natalya would have been fine. Alexa versus Charlotte is going to be awesome. Then just wait, because Alexa will get credit for it. Just check it. That's what happened with Sasha Banks. Oh, Alexa, Sasha's terrible. Alexa's the queen. Do you see how good that match was? Yeah, it was as good as all the Sasha fans told you it was going to be.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that one. Actually, no, we'll do that one first, because that's the big one for me.
Yes.
So I talked a bunch about the unification match and all that stuff, and I still like it. I hope it's what they do. Now that it's Charlotte, like we said it was going to be, I'm proud of us. My booking of it is a little bit different. And I don't think they'll do it this way, but this is what I hope they would like for them to do. I think that you have Alexa Bliss win tomorrow night. And for the love of God, she has to cheat to do it. The clean wins are getting out of control, and to get a win over Charlotte, you need something to tick Charlotte off. And then Charlotte kind of goads her into a rematch. And Alexa's like, no, I already beat you once, bye. And then you keep basically ramping it up and make it title for title at Clash of the Champions. Alexa accepts that, because who wouldn't want to be Universal Champ or Unified Champ? At that show in Clash, Charlotte wins. And what you do after Charlotte wins the main event, because you still get the benefit of Alexa getting the main event, which is awesome. Because women main eventing pay-per-views, there's two of them right now, as far as I know. That list is Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, and that's it.
Yeah.
You'll put Alexa Bliss up there. They love her. Why not? But especially if you got big plans for her in the future, and this story actually ends with the those big plans. When you have that match, Charlotte wins. You bring the other 3 horsewomen to the ring, and they have their click moment. They get to too sweet or too horsey or whatever it is their hand gesture is. That's it. Yeah, it's really 4 sweet. They get to be 4 sweet. Because we've talked about it. It's been one of the biggest problems with the horsewomen in general, but especially if you're building to that 4-on-4 at WrestleMania, y'all have killed the horsewomen. None of them have any mystique at all except Charlotte. So if you have Alexa beat her, that's gone. Where you can, and I'm not saying it's going to put them back over overnight, but that real stuff is fun. Yeah. People like that. Rick and Charlotte last week. That sounded weird. Yeah. Asuka and Ember tonight. People like stuff like that. Let them have their moment, then start building for the 4-on-4 for WrestleMania. It's all good. In the meantime, you have Alexa feud with Paige. To finish that part of I beat the Revolution. And then you work into the series with Asuka and have Alexa and Asuka at WrestleMania, and Alexa goes over. Yes, it does pain me to say that because I like Asuka and I don't like Alexa. But for the business that we're booking here, that's the way you do it. Then after the 4 horsewomen of MMA beat the 4 horsewomen of wrestling and they all get mad at each other and go their separate ways, Alexa comes out on Charlotte and cuts the promo, and it's got bad news for you there, Hondo. You just got beat up by Ronda Rousey, but I still got a rematch. So then you book that, and they can headline another pay-per-view, and that's when Alexa gets her championship, and then y'all can leave it on her as long as you want to. Now, I think they might do this at Clash of the Champions. I would like it better if they stretch it out, because if you beat her at, I don't know what they're going to do, but if you do it in reverse, if Charlotte wins tomorrow night and then Alexa wins Clash of the Champions, if that's even the plan, how do you get the horsewomen up? I don't know. You just need to work on that simply because, like we've said, man,
it's a short amount of time to get that many people over again.
Oh, that's why I'm hoping that the cheap emotional pop will be a good thing to jump off because you're right. Doing it in matches, doing by booking them to win. Hey, you had months to do that. Yeah. But I'm hoping that that's what they'll do with that one. And then my other thing that I want is so stupid, but I still want this to be about the McMahon family, not named Stephanie, losing the company. I want it to be about Triple H's takeover. Again, we've made that reference about how the show's called Takeover.
Yep.
And I basically want everybody in the building to get a crack at Shane McMahon. Because remember what happened the last time Shane got beat up? Daddy came down and scolded Kevin Owens, and I'm hoping that maybe that's like a nugget of like, don't beat up my son. And then basically Vince loses the company. I think that'd be awesome. I think it could be the greatest gimmick, the greatest angle of all time, Vince booking his exit from the company, if he would genuinely hand the reins over to that guy with the hammer. Yeah. It'd be awesome. It'd be totally awesome. That leads into our other thing that we've been talking about.
I'm not dead yet.
Oh, you need to be. But your career is. Bye. Particularly like we just talked about a minute ago, man. You're 2 for 2 with people on your screen that just said, I'd always rather go to the NXT show. Vince doesn't call the NXT show. That's why it's so good. Mainly because nobody is calling the NXT show. There's no Kevin frickin' Dunn, and there's no John Cena egos to serve, which you can dig John if you want to, but that's something that people never really understood about the John Cena and Roman Reigns digging in. Oh, man, they're really getting into it. Oh, there's some serious backstage heat. There's no real heat. The guys don't dislike each other. But the most insulting thing that was said in all those exchanges, I think got lost in the shuffle of, I'm here because you can't do your job, and I'm doing your job because you can't do your job. The worst insult was Roman Reigns saying, I have no interest in being the next John Cena. Because he's not talking about Make-A-Wish. He's not talking about championship reigns. He's not talking about T-shirt sales. He's not talking about Fruity Pebbles. He's not talking about being in movies. He is talking about what happens when they both walk through that curtain. Yeah. Because Cena has the huge bust. He's got this. Cena stays in this thing. Reigns is one of the boys. Yeah. It's Hogan and Flair. Totally different things, man. John Cena is over on Planet Cena. Roman Reigns is one of the guys. And it's one of those things that I think makes people that want to hate him so bad nuts is that you don't ever hear a bad thing about the dude.
It don't happen.
You hear it about John. There's just a blackout from the company, but go find guys that have been fired. They got nothing. Nobody ever says anything bad about Reigns because he's a good guy.
Yep.
But that was the best insult in that whole thing. Anyhow, sorry, I got sidetracked. But I'm hoping that's what's going to happen is that you will basically, we talked about it earlier, man. If you look at that Survivor Series match, man, between Orton and Evolution and then NXT, everybody in that match except Cena has ties to Triple H. So the idea of them all being loyal to him and just kind of switching teams, and you've got John and Shane and tough guy John is going to, or Shane is going to go, John Wayne, we can take these guys. Let's go, man.
He's like,
never give up. Oh, no, he's totally into it. He's all ready to go right up till they take the step. Then he drops down, rolls out of the ring. I got movies to make.
Oh, yeah.
Especially, again, if you want to do the Cena heel turn. And I mean, go the hell away. He's going to go away anyway.
Yeah.
He only came back on that.
Accelerate this.
I think he's only back for that emergency Jericho stuff. What do you mean Chris Jericho's not on contract? He came back and worked SmackDown. He was in town and they begged him.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I think that's what Cena's doing is just this emergency stopgap, especially if you've got a story like this in mind. Cena can't walk out of the company if he's not around to do it. I'd love it. I know that's pipe dreamy stuff. It's just what I'd like to see. I think that'd be just the coolest thing ever. But the one problem, the one risk you run by booking that is how many people would lose their mind with butt hurt. Because people would get so mad that they got to me. God, people are mad they got took on Jericho and Omega.
Yeah.
They would lose their minds if they got took on something this big. Who cares? It's not the worst thing in the world being the butt of the joke. Can survive. But, Jericho Omega, that was our other thing. How great would this be? Some guy on Instagram posted a picture of Chris Jericho with the US title, the IWGP US title. It's like, man, can you imagine how the New Japan kids would react if this happened? And I was like, don't have to. I am a New Japan kid. This is exactly how I would react. I hope to God that's what they do.
Yeah.
And here's why. We've discussed it on these very airwaves before.
Makes plenty of sense.
The greatest thing that could happen to anybody is the one-day contract with WWE. The cash-in. You made a great point about Ospreay. Is I'm like, man, if you were booking Will Ospreay and Rey Mysterio, who would you rather have booked at the WWE?
Yeah.
I mean, that'd be amazing. As far as eyeballs, that people would lose their fiddlesticks over that, and that would be cool. But that's our thing, man. Is like, have Jericho go to the Tokyo Dome, win the IWGP US title. He's all out. It's all good. Everything is okay, man. Free agent Chris Jericho. Show up on Monday Night Raw the next chance you get and hand that belt over to Vince McMahon and walk out the building. And the stip is, Kenny, if you want your belt back, you better come get it. You know where New Orleans is, right?
Yeah.
1-day contract, WrestleMania 34. This is 34, isn't it?
34.
34.
Yeah.
Thank you.
34.
Kenny Omega, Chris Jericho, IWGP US title. And there's round 2. And then you can have round 3 on the boat in October. I would absolutely squeal if that happened, man. I would just blow these trousers up and put on another pair and blow them suckers apart, dude. And again, all this stuff.
Dang old britches.
Like a dang old britches Holocaust. Yeah, man, all this stuff is just fun, and that would be the coolest thing that I can think of. And again, especially if it meant a future where people can come in and sign 1-day deals. We talked about that with like the Women's Royal Rumble as well, man, because there's not enough women in WWE to have a Royal Rumble. First things first, you could do 20 and not 30. But secondly, if you did want to do 30, I think this is something I think would be very cool. SmackDown Raw, of course. Put the NXT women in there as well. And it just opens up so many possibilities where if you have somebody you want to elevate to challenge for that title, they can win it. If you have somebody that's a main contender or huge in the running for that belt, but you want to move them up, have them challenge for one of the other ones.
Yeah.
That would be just awesome. Awesome stuff. And then for like the Mae Young girls, for girls in Ring of Honor or Shimmer or anybody across the pond, anyone you really dig, you can bring them over for a one-off, man. Like Jared was saying, man, Royal Rumble's so much fun for returns anyway. You get Beth Phoenix back in there. Anybody that says yes. I'm with you. I think that would be very cool.
That's become the tradition is who's going to come back and show up. And
besides CM Punk and Rey Mysterio.
Batista. Well, they're already there in number 30.
Batista's going to be number 30 in the Women's Battle Royal.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Paige,
29.
That's who everybody was saying was going to take the place of Charlotte, because now she's not going to be in that match.
Yeah.
Who's going to take the place? Well, it's going to be Paige. I was like, I'll pump the brakes on that one. I just don't think that's going to work out for you.
I don't either, and I know I'm beating this poor horse. I'm beating this sucker into veal. But which is fabulous because it requires the changing of the animal. But dude, Paige is coming back to fill out Alexa Bliss's resume. Yeah. I truly believe that's the only thing she's got left, and then they will fulfill her dream of firing her. That's it.
Ellsworth. her ass.
Yeah, for real. I really think that's what's going on. They're not bringing her back for any push or any. Nah, man. She's the stopgap to keep Alexa from cashing in her rematch first, and then eventually it'll be Asuka as well. I think all that stuff works, but that's it. That's all she's coming back for, man.
Yeah.
That's it. And also, you've already got Alexa Bliss talking on Twitter about putting the horsewomen out to pasture. So our checklist thing is like, hey, that sounds like what's going on, man.
Already got the T-shirts made.
Yeah, seriously, just the stuff on the back, man. They come with a marker. It's like a T-shirt and a Sharpie. Do it yourself. I'm beating all these chicks.
Yep. So it's just nice to have something like that to look forward to and see what happens. And
Oh man,
who knows? Everything I've seen has basically said, well, Natalya and Charlotte will just swap places. But then I was kind of like bummed, like, oh, I want something cooler than that.
What a Paige.
Paige?
I wanted it to be a Del Rio myself.
Heck yeah,
Del
man.
Rio dressed as Paige.
Santina.
That'd be awesome, man.
Yes.
Alberta Del Rio.
It's not too late.
For real, we can still make this happen, Vince.
Vince wanted a transgender character. Well, there you have it.
I've heard that was the plan with Ellsworth, was him and Charlotte at WrestleMania, and he was supposed to be a transgendered wrestler, which I think is a big mistake. Vince doing political stuff is not the best idea anyway, particularly.
Surely that man's not getting that scene out. We thought that's a good idea.
That's a moneymaker, my friend, and that's kind of the thing. Is I'm big old lefty softy la-di-da, but here's the thing about political correctness. Political correctness is just corporations putting in print what they can fire you for saying, and then you can't sue the company anymore.
Yeah.
That's all it is. And my point about, like, I'm not talking about offending a group of people. I'm talking about offending a group of people to where they don't spend money with you, and that's what you have to be careful with. Got to be careful with that.
Can't have that.
You can't. There are transgendered people that have, you can't look at somebody until they're transgendered. Particularly pre-transition, you can't tell. So you're talking about, I've mentioned this before, man, people that you can't look at and know to discriminate against don't get discriminated against. That means educational opportunities. It means all the money you can possibly make. So if you have transgendered players in corporate America, which you do, whether you know it or not, don't go messing with the country boy is what I'm saying. You just have to be careful with that stuff.
That's what the flack that Caitlyn Jenner got. She didn't understand why she wasn't well condemned by this community. He's like, well, you're rich. You got to go disappear and return as this other person. Somebody actually going through that change who's not rich doesn't get to do that. You have to see that change take place, and that's why, no, you're not a part of that community.
Yeah,
so let's go spend all the money you want to, but it doesn't get you a free pass into the VIP lounge.
The club. Yeah, I think it was one of those things where it's like, good for you, enjoy your life, but if what you wanted was a parade and postage stamps and pats on the back, sorry.
No, you're not going to get that.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's like, okay.
I don't know about that, dude. So that's what's up, man.
That's what it's all about.
We'll see y'all in the next one.
Take it easy out.